you've just told us, and I'm thinking, how did you manage financially? Did people come to the party, or was it miracles, or how did you do it?
No, it was hard. I had a deserted wife's pension and the endowment. That's not very much. I had a mortgage, I had a car, insurance and maintenance. In the end, I had to make a decision. I lost my house. I had to sell the house, which was something that I took a long time to get over. That really grieved me, that I would have to give up my home. But God is there.
Yeah.
God is there. Yeah, I was raised through the Depression in the 1930s. Then we had the war, 39. My mother was a great nutritionist, and there were 9 of us. And from her, I learned how to live economically, but nutritiously. And all that came back to me. I can feed a family of 10 people on $10.
Woo!
Because I just know how to,
Yeah.
and I knew how to do that with my children. But we didn't have money. My children, for excursions and things they have to do, I would just say, well, we go out for the day because I didn't have it. The children would come and want money for something at school. I would open up my purse. I say, if it's in there, you can have it. And if it's in there, they had it. God is my God, and
how do you think, now that your children have grown and they've got their own families, and that, you know, I think of my dad, he was a pretty toughie, but now I'm so thankful for everything we had to go through. Are they like that?
Yeah, they remember, the older ones especially, but even the younger ones. I mean, then the younger ones all went through, they all went through this situation, and they say to me, we talk about it now, they say to me, Mum, it was all experience and developed our character.
Wonderful.
And my children are all involved in their workplaces. They're all involved in people. They're nurses, preachers, school bus driver,
Wonderful.
and he loves it. They're all involved in something with people. Yeah, they are very genuine, I would say sincerely generous.
Yes.
They're very generous, and they're very people-minded.
That you've written a book to your children and another book to your grandchildren, which they already have, and what a wonderful thing that is. And you know, now if they're listening, and they will be listening to what you've had to say, what would you like to say to them?
To my children?
Yeah.
Oh, I tell them all the time, I thank my children with all my heart for who they are. They've cared for me, they've loved me, they've forgiven me. We've had very candid talks about I didn't always do it right. I was a tough mother, but God showed me that I was now given authority. And I say to parents, you know, if you've got children, you're the boss. You're the boss. And my children knew that when I called them once, I say to children, they be obedient to their parents, be obedient to, school. And I think that in my own life, I learned that you have to understand the voice of authority. And as a mother, I had the voice of authority, and whatever the children wanted to do, and they would come to me, I would, of course, you pray all the time. But I had courage in that. If I can just say this kindly, they would go out with their dad and holidays, and they had everything they wanted, and they come home to me to eat scrambled eggs and fried rice. But God showed me, do not compromise your authority. As a parent, as a mother, for me personally, I learned, do not compromise your authority. If they wanted something, if I thought it was wise, I could as I said, if I've got it in my purse, you can have it. Otherwise, one of my boys was the captain of a football team and they went to Sydney. He didn't tell me this till he was probably about 40, because they never grumbled about what they didn't have, because what they had, they appreciated. But he was the captain. Everybody, the kids went with their, fancy shorts, and he had these wide leg satin shorts. And he didn't tell me till he was way, way older how it was embarrassing for him. And he was the captain and he went to Sydney football team and played. And I felt very sad. But my children have grown very appreciative to everything they have. They love me, they care for me, they watch me, but they've never tried to take from me. I don't like the word independent. I don't think independence should ever be there, because that's not real. But anything I wanted to do, I know they watch me, but they let me do it. I go do things, and I've been halfway around the world and done things, and that's another story. How God called me, literally called me. We were sitting in church, and there was a visitor came, can't remember his name, but he preached a sermon, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, I would love to do that. He's talking about going into all the fields, and not the big cities, but the little places with the 20s and the 30s, and just giving them the good news of Jesus. And I'm going, I wish I could do that, because that's where I came from. In our early days, we were pioneer people in Australia. We travelled and did things, and there are stories I could tell you there. But when the meeting was over, this man in Glad Tidings, he said, I preached this sermon today to two people, and one of them is a man in a pinstripe suit, and the other is to a lady, and he described what she had on. He said, you've got a blue dress with a collar with rosebuds. Now, there's a story. I was at home, and I always plan the night before what I'm going to wear and get the kids all ready and everything. And I was so restless about to go to church, and I had this, what I thought I looked like, but I couldn't get over the fact, no, go change your dress. So in the end, hurried, I went and I changed. I put on my blue dress with a collar, with the button, with the rose. I cannot believe how God goes to this effort to get it specific. And he called me, and when he called me,
the tape is going to run out. So we'd love you just to give one concise statement, the last thing you'd like your children to always remember. Look into the camera and say to them,
remember that I loved you. You know that I love you, and I thank you for every expression of your love you gave to me. I want you to love God all the days of your life, and I'll see you later.